Hello YouTubers, this is Kenway and I'm here to bring you my zombie pigman spawner. This is a very simple, easy design. If you see the tools that I have in my toolbar, those are all that you'll need. You won't need a single additional item other than what I have currently in my toolbar, my hotbar. So let's get to it. As far as this video, I'm going to be starting off with showing you it working. I'll do a time lapse. Then I'll lead to how it works, how to build it. However, I won't be building it from scratch. If you want a detailed tutorial, if I get enough requests, I will post that as well. Once I show you how to build it, I will show you where to place it, as that does matter in this design. How to survive a fall will be the next thing that I will cover, and the very last thing I will cover is how to get above the roof. As you might be able to tell, I'm actually above the roof of the Nether here. So there's a way to get up here without having to break any blocks, and I'll show you how to do that. So you can do it legitimately. Hopefully they won't take that away. But let me start from the get-go. So I'll be doing a time lapse. So let me get up here in my waiting position. Explain to you how that works later on, but here we go. Okay, so that wraps up the time lapse. That last those last couple ones took a while, but I just wanted to show you. On this map, it indicates where monsters are spawning, and as you see, there are none spawning anywhere else. I reached my cap of 81. These zombie men spawn in groups, so sometimes I get like 83, 82, but 81's the cap, at least for me. I'm not sure if you can increase it with settings or anything, but let me head down. So 81, you can see it in the near the E, the 81 up there, and here we go. So yeah, there's a lot of noise. noise here. Flip this switch. Okay, that was pretty noisy. I flip this switch and it pushes the items towards me. Obviously I came down from that ladder. Open up the door again, some more can drop down. I do not have an overhead catch. So if you did want to turn this into an XP farm, you would have to, of course, move the blocks above them so that more guys didn't fall in. As you can see, it kind of gets clogged up in there. But I just need this one guy to fall in. There we go. Okay, okay, so that covers pretty much everything from the how it works section. You will get about 4 ingots of gold, a little bit more sometimes. I remember a couple of tests I did, I got 4 ingots and 6 nuggets in total, and just a crap ton of meat. I did forget to turn off this. Oh, there you go. So yeah, these 4 ingots were from a previous one. These rotten flesh are from a previous one. Obviously, the ones that I got now have carried over, so I can't determine how much that is. However, these nuggets are all fresh. I have no way to prove that, of course, but as I didn't show my inventory before I started this, but you can take my word on it. I got really lucky this time. As you see, I got 5 ingots and 1 nugget, so that's pretty good. So for the next section, I will show you how it works. Let me go back into creative mode so I can fly around here. So basically, this is a 2-block drop. It's a gravity trap. These are the top levels. I haven't seen anything spawn on these blocks yet, so the position seems to be too close to where I stand up there, and unfortunately I can't increase that. I'll explain that why later. So this is virtually a useless area right here, so you don't even have to build anything there if you don't want to, and you can take out these as well if you want to. I'm just going to leave them in right now. But so these are the platforms. As you see, anywhere that you are, you only have the choice of dropping down, and then you only have the choice of dropping down more, and this continues until finally you end up at the bottom here, and this is the kill chamber. These blocks push the items forward, and these two suffocate the mobs by pushing the block over them, over their heads. So that was the holding area, and how that works is if you go up here, I stood in a very specific place right here, and so the 2-block system, I explained that. The holding area is exactly 32 blocks from where I'm standing right now. If you look at my X, Y, and Z, it's 140, 244, and negative 67. So if I fly down here, and just to get rid of these, let me go to peaceful mode. So if I fly down here, this is where I was standing. You see the negative 140 and negative 67. Now this is the furthest spot from where I'm standing up there, and this is negative 139, 214, and negative 68. if you calculate that, you'll find that the distance between this spot here and where I was standing up there at the very top is exactly 32 blocks, and that is the ideal spot that you want to be. Any further than 32 blocks and monsters that are standing in this corner, or if you were instead standing here in respect up there, mobs in this corner would actually start despawning, um, and you definitely don't want that to happen. So that is one of the limits to this make. Okay, so the map that I showed you before, let me go ahead and turn it back on to a difficulty. Now, as you see the map, you see a little those little red circles. Those represent monsters, and as you can see over I can only point with the little red cursor that you see in the middle of the map. As you see, there are some that are kind of looking around. They are spawning down there, and this happens in the Nether because, unlike in the real world, if you have normally I build my monster spawners over water because monsters can't spawn in water, and you can build into the air. Now, in a very high altitude because of the rays of the cap, the air cap. But there are little pockets in here, even in this section where I am right now, where there are monsters that can spawn, and that will eat up the mobs that you want to spawn in your trap. So getting as far away from all of that as possible is what you ideally want to do, which is why I built it on top of the ceiling. And the last thing on how it works is on the how it works section is this roof here. This it took me a while researching, trying to figure out. Oh, and let me cut off real fast just to show you. These little magma cubes can spawn, but they do jump off. You may have seen in the time lapse one did spawn, but it did jump off. They don't take fall damage, so they actually will just run around here until they despawn. You see that little guy still there. So either they don't take fall damage, or they have a crap ton of health. I don't think they have a crap ton of health, so I'm assuming they don't take fall damage. But yeah, back to the ceiling here, the roof. Basically, when you're building in high altitudes, and this is true for in the overworld in Minecraft as well. When you're building in high altitudes, you need a roof over the areas that you want monsters to spawn in. Even if there's a roof down here, in the overworld, you need it to be dark. So even if this is a closed off area and there's a roof over here, they will not spawn underneath. They will initially when you first build it, but if you log out and log in a couple times, if you walk away, get a few chunks away from it, come back, they will stop spawning, and that's because they don't have a roof. This has to do with coding, the coding of the game. I guess it can be considered a bug, but basically if you make a roof over the area, and generally it's about, you need it about 20 blocks high, and you build the roof over it, that will allow them to spawn on the pads or inside a monster spawner in the overworld or whatever you're doing. So that's very important. This will not work if you do not have this. It will work initially, but given enough time, if you log out, log back in, or whatever, it will stop working. And that's for the current Minecraft that I have right here. You can see the version 1.2.5. They may fix that, may change stuff here, but this is the current version right now. This is working perfectly. So on to the next section, how to build. I generally start with obviously the ladder system going up so I can traverse. I'll go over how to survive fall damage later on. That noise is kind of difficult, so let me turn it peaceful. So yeah, everything that I have in my hotbar right now is what you need to build. Um, so basically, I started with the holding chamber first, at the very bottom, right here. And as you see, there are two blocks from here to here. So if I were a mob, I can't get out of here, and that holds true for the other two sides. I can't get out, and I just followed that concept throughout making these other pads, and you can expand it as much as you can, as long as it remains um, within 32 meters of where you're standing. You can't go as far out as you want. They just won't spawn anymore. So I just followed that concept. You can see if you want a tutorial, I'll build it from scratch again if you want. It's a very easy, simplistic build. Um, and I have blocks here so that you can't exit, you can't get out from there. So that's why I have this wall here. Um, I have glass right here. It doesn't need to be glass. It can be stone if you want. Um, if you're short on glass or cobblestone, whatever, it doesn't matter. Um, it's just to keep them from falling out. I like to leave these sections open, so the magma cubes that spawn in here, I don't want them here, so they just jump out and escape that way. These glass on their surroundings, they hold two purposes. One, they stop ghast from spawning. If you have a ghast spawn right here, it can't, because one, it needs 5 by 5 blocks in here. You have 1, 2, and then 3, but then there's a block right here stopping it. And that's why I have these glass blocks over this section right here. Even though nothing spawns there, um, ghast can, if these weren't here. So 5 blocks high, it can't, because that's there. Okay, so I went over the waiting area. On these 4 blocks right here needs to be 32 from the furthest block of the holding chamber on the very bottom. 1 block down, if I were to stand here instead, monsters wouldn't spawn on the highest blocks right here, 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 and here, here. I think I went over that one. Okay, so you need 1 up, and they'll be able to spawn there, as shown in the time lapse. So this is the waiting area, holding area, 32 blocks from that. Glass usage, nothing can spawn on glass. Ghast can't, the Pigman can't, so that's why I have glass everywhere. I have it on top of this tower here. You can't put a ladder on top of glass, so I have this stone, and then I cover it with glass blocks. Nothing can spawn on top of that. The same goes for over here. The redstone circuits and stuff that I have here are very simplistic, but they are covered in glass, as you see, and this is to prevent pigmen from spawning on top of them. They can and will spawn on stone that has redstone on top of it. That they don't discriminate against redstone; they'll spawn right on top of it. So this is to stop them from doing so. The pistons, they do not spawn on top of pistons, so you don't have to worry about those. You can put it in aesthetically, but I don't. Um, so, as far as the redstone goes, I can't put glass here, so I use a half slab. Therefore, you only need 2 half slabs for the entire construction. Some pigmen spawners require you to cover a huge area with half slabs. This system only requires 2, so I think that's a big improvement. And as you know, redstone doesn't get cut off by half slabs, so it continues down. So if I were to hit this switch for the suffocator, you see how it lights up this block here with the switch, and that sends a current to these repeaters that send it directly into um, the pistons that suffocate the mobs with the block. These are sticky pistons, of course, so you will need slime balls for those, but see, it's very simplistic. Um, the second one is for the item pusher, and that is being cut off. See how this block it is attached to the switch. So the switch activates this block here, sends a current to the redstone down here. I separate these two by putting a block there that cuts the line between this redstone and the one beneath it. So the redstone is isolated to this strip here, which sends it to repeaters and then to the pistons, sticky pistons that push the blocks and the items towards you so that you can get them without having to break anything. If you want to turn this into an XP farm, you will need to do some adjustments, just a simple timer with repeaters. You can extend it on both. You can extend this a bit and have a repeater system going. Very simple, just a bunch of repeaters and a tiny bit more redstone. So, the glass usage, redstone, gas prevention. Okay, so that brings me to the placement. So the placement is, as you can see by my Y coordinate, it's very high, and I think I'm pretty close to the ceiling right now. There isn't too much more you can go. Yeah, this is it right here. So 2, 5, 6. This is the ceiling. This is the cap. You can't put any blocks up here. I didn't want to put it too high because I wanted to at least have some area to breathe, to put some stuff over here. So I can put when I build this in my game, I can make this into a house, make it a bit nicer, but you can't. I put it as high as I can so that I can get away from mobs spawning, and I'll show you that right now. Okay, so if you look at the map, you can see that mobs are spawning everywhere and they're despawning. If you get a little bit closer to the bottom, you'll notice that they actually start to stay where they're spawning for a tiny bit, and that really eats up the amount of pigmen that you want to be in your spawner. So the lower that I go, the worse this actually gets. And normally, I have my waiting area underneath my mob spawners, but in this circumstance, it's actually better to be as far away as possible from the actual underneath of the roof of the nether, the normal nether area. And so mobs, the pigmen can spawn in your area, not underneath, and that's what you want to avoid. You want to be as far away as possible, and this is what this device does. So that brings me to my next point, where how you can survive a fall. So obviously I built this in creative mode, flying around and everything, and I have a bunch of other examples. You can see this shows me the direction to my other test ones, but basically if you're gonna fall accidentally while building this, you need a way to not die. You're in the nether, you obviously can't set up a bed here, so you can't spawn here. Makes it very difficult and annoying having to travel back and forth. So to avoid that, I built a system, and I already have it set up over here. So I'll show you that in a second. This is one of my other test ones, but it's piston activated. But this is my little test fall area. So basically, if I were to be trying to build something here, and let's say I accidentally fell off, right? I have to aim in the middle, and this is a bit risky, so I would have died there. But so far, it's the only way that I can actually survive falling that I've thought of. And that guy must have spawned over there. I didn't gas-proof that area, did I? So, try it again. If I fall, I have a couple seconds to actually, I would have died there too. Land in between these. And I'm sorry I can't show you a working example of me actually surviving one of these falls. But the idea is that it gives you hopefully enough area, 2 block area, um, to fall and catch yourself on these ladders. And it isn't very resource intensive. You could obviously make this a bit more elaborate and higher up. The higher it is, the more time you have to approach it from the side, instead of actually having to avoid landing directly on top of it. So you don't have to have everything covered with ladders. You just need to get yourself in between these two. So you could have this extended quite a bit and just land in between it, and then catch yourself on the ladders on the very bottom. You don't need much. You can't have water in the Nether. Lava, from what I've researched, doesn't stop fall damage. Although that may be specifically to mobs, but you don't want to drop into lava anyway, so that doesn't really help much. So, my final topic: how the heck do you get here without creative mode? How do you do that? So, I will show you. Let me just create a little area here. Okay, so you're climbing up, you're creating a staircase. You see that you have the roof here, so you can't go any higher than that. And the roof is four levels. So what you want to do is find one, 1, 2, 3, 4, that has a direct connection to the very top level. Oh, there we go, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My mistake, it's 5. So you want to be at 126, and you see my y coordinate 126. You want to be right there. So it may take you a while, but eventually, hopefully, you can find a spot that, for instance, is like this, to where you can stand on top of the block, or you can just jump and place one underneath you. But you want to be facing the very top level, and I'm just 1 block away from the ceiling right now, from being up there. And what I'm going to do now is turn off creative mode. I do have diamond armor. I do have the nether, the ender pearl. Let me get some more. It might take more than just one. That's eye of ender. There we go. Okay, so you have to kill some endermen before you do this, obviously. Why am I floating? There we go. Okay, so you do have to kill some endermen. Hopefully, I haven't tested this too much. I just know you have to aim up here. Maybe there's a better place to aim to have more consistent results. Typically, I have to shoot a couple times. But there we go. Basically, you throw it, and then you jump right after. You might have to replay that a bit. You might have to test it out, die a couple times. Hopefully not, but let me show you me right here. So I'm inside the block, but only my lower part is, so I'm not suffocating. before my head was, so I was suffocating a little bit. But then you jump up again, so you have to jump twice. And there you go. So, it only took me one this time. However, I wouldn't expect that, you know, from anyone just starting off. So bring some food. Um, you're gonna have to regain your health a couple of times, but I think there's a different one. Yeah, this is a different spawner. But that is the idea of how to get up here in the first place. So that covers everything. Oh, here we go. Now, where was the other one? You might want to mark your area a little bit better than I have. But, just remember, you don't have to use glass. You can use leaves or anything that mobs cannot spawn on top of. And that's the idea behind this. You don't want mobs to be able to spawn on top of what you're what you're building. You want them to spawn in the actual area that you want them to. So, with that said, that covers my tutorial on my very easy, very simple Pigman spawner. So, if you like, please, if you like this, please check out my other videos. I will be coming out with more very simplistic, very easy mob spawners. I don't like things that are complicated. I don't like things that are difficult. I like things that are practical, useful, and efficient. And this does all of that for me, so I'm very happy with it. If you're happy too, if you want to see a tutorial, let me know. I'll build it from scratch and go over every step of the way. So thank you for watching, and enjoy Minecraft.